Let us prepare in mind, body, and spirit for our service today. Today's reading comes from Joyous Living, Living on Purpose, A Father's Strength, and it's by Anton St. Martin. Like a Columbus of the heart, mind, and soul, I have hurled myself off the shores of my own fears and limiting beliefs to venture far out into the uncharted territories of my inner truth in search of what it means to be genuine and at peace with who I really am. I have abandoned the masquerade of living up to expectations of others and explored the new horizons of what it means to be truly and completely me, in all of my amazing imperfection and most splendid insecurity. If you will, take these words for a few moments into the silence. What a truly auspicious instant this is, this instant of love, this time of us coming together in love, vibrating that beautiful, loving energy amongst us and out to this entire world. I give thanks for this service. This service is so divine. It is so loving. I know that everything about this time with us being together is in perfection. I am knowing that the greeters are blessed. I'm knowing that this divine, beautiful music ministry is so divinely blessed. I'm knowing that Reverend Cece is uplifted and divinely supported, that the infinite wisdom of the divine flows through her and speaks through her. And I'm knowing every word is spoken in the tongue of love. I'm knowing every thought is filled with peace. I'm knowing every heart is filled with comfort and joy and love. And I give thanks. So be it, and so it is.
And so it is.
Father's Day. It's an interesting holiday, isn't it? It's a day when we celebrate the divine masculine that shows up first in our lives as our dads. Dads are really important, really important in our lives. And this morning I was reading some things about what a sea change fatherhood creates in men's lives. It is, becoming a parent changes anyone. But the institution of fatherhood itself is changing too. This article was from Esquire magazine, and it said that dads are spending 3 times as much time with their kids now as they did 40 years ago, which I think is fabulous. That's great. And men want children even more than women now, which is a very interesting thing. I think part of it is that we're all beginning to change our definitions of what matters in life, that relationships matter more than stuff. And part of it is also that we are getting better at balancing the masculine energy and the feminine energy inside our own beings. We both have both of those. We both have masculine energy. We all have masculine energy and female energy. For a long time, we had half of society exhibiting masculinity and half of society exhibiting femininity, which cuts us off from some sources of our own wholeness. And we begin to balance them better, even if we have more feminine traits if we're female and more masculine traits if we're male. One of the great traits that I think of as masculine is strength, the ability to get stuff done. Part of it's physical strength, but part of it is the strength of will to get things done. And the archetypal strong father is, of course, the God of Genesis, where, the earth was without form and was void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was moving on the face of the waters, which means this ability to get things done, this strength was moving over the feminine aspect of consciousness. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that it was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. And God called the light day and the darkness night. And then God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it separate waters from waters." And it was good. And God called the firmament heaven. This is the father of our deepest psyche, our deepest mental structures, the God who exudes command and control, the father that is the psychic force that generates discernment of opposites, day and night, light and dark, water and not water. Another deep archetype of our psyche is the loving father. He's authoritative and still gets things done for the benefit of his family, but is loving and kind. And this father figure can get righteously angry, but never rageful. And that is, of course, Professor Dumbledore, right? From Harry Potter. And Gandalf from the Hobbit. And Ward Cleaver from Leave It to Beaver. They all represent that loving father ideal. And this is also the God that Jesus knew, the one he called Abba, or Daddy. That's what it most correctly translates to. He said Abba, and that means daddy, that kind of loving but strong ideal. These archetypal ideas of father are things we inherit from our society. We get them as templates, if you will, for what it means to be a father. And of course, our human fathers were just that. They were human, and sometimes they exhibited more of their human shortcomings than of this ideal father strength and compassion and kindness. Many of us had fathers who were always angry. Some of us had fathers who were absent or distant. Some were completely ineffectual. But if we look objectively, I think we can see that they were exhibiting all the strengths they knew how to exhibit, trying to get things done. Sometimes in a very authoritative way, hopefully with at least an attempt to be loving. And we may not agree with what they chose to do, and we may not agree with how they chose to do it, but I think we can see the masculine characteristics that they inherited from society too. We all grow up in the state of consciousness that our community is at, and that's what we inherit. And so I know for my dad, strong and silent was the archetype that he was trying to live up to. and not to let his emotions get the best of him. He told me that on more than one occasion, that he had been very angry as a youth, and as a result, he'd sort of shut everything down because he didn't ever want to be that angry again. He scared himself. If you think back for a moment, you might remember a time when your dad did something difficult for his family. Maybe worked too many hours to put food on the table, which of course made him absent. Or exhibited a great physical strength or a great strength of will, or lovingly taught you something. Even though he ticked me off every time he did, my dad taught me a lot. And the reason he ticked me off is because he treated me as a dumb girl. Like, who couldn't use a hammer and a pair of pliers in the same job, you know? He asked me that once. He said, "Can you use a hammer and a pair of pliers at the same time?" I said, "I think I can handle that, Dad." I mean, I was like 30 at the time, you know. I've done it before. But he always kind of did that, you know, kind of treated me as though I was a girl who never learned anything. But I know that he also exhibited great strength and ability to discern in behalf of the family. And that same discernment and that same strength and creative ability shows up in every one of us. You can think about your own life and see where it shows up in you. It shows up in all of us because we have both masculine and feminine. We were created in the image and likeness of the one that we call spirit. We all have that power of creative thought, and we all have those dark secret places where thought germinates and bears fruit. We all have the command and control power, and we all have places where we will give up control. We all have the ability to discern between seeming opposites, and we all have that feminine ability to hold both and. How are these two sets of things present in you, both of them? We all were truly made in the image and likeness of God. Not the God of the Hebrew Bible, not Yahweh. Yahweh was a primitive masculine stereotype, not an archetype. That if that God didn't like someone, or even a whole nation, they would be wiped out off the face of the earth. That God sent even like poisonous snakes one time to bite and kill the Israelites because they weren't obeying. You know, plagues and all kinds of stuff for people who disobeyed. That is a pretty dysfunctional father figure. It really is. Created by the state of consciousness of the people at that time. That's all they could see was God as a human, superhuman king who let his ego and shortcomings and insecurities get the best of him. So they created a picture of God that was similar to that. I'm talking about Jesus' God, the God that he called Daddy, the God that is a father, mother of love and strength and tenderness, and that works through each one of us, urging us always to be both strong and creative and loving and inclusive at the same time. That's the God that Jesus knew and invited us to know. It's the combination of the masculine strength plus the gentleness that each one of us has, along with this feminine trait, Sophia, it's called in the Bible, wisdom. The difference between Yahweh and Abba is vast, and it shows our own evolution, our conscious evolution. Each of us individually, but also our whole society, our whole species, has arrived at the place where we don't want to live from brute force. We want to live from real power. And it's a process we each go through during the course of our life here. From the time, you know, watch a 2 or 3-year-old have a tantrum if you don't think that they're trying to get what they want through power, through force. They will scream until they get it, right? And it doesn't matter how embarrassed you are or where you are. We evolve through that stage until we come to a place where we want to understand what spiritual power really is, because it's not force. It's power. It's the power that comes from wisdom and strength and love. And we want to treat others with tenderness rather than guardedness. And we want to not be coercive in the least, but to be able to live in our power and from our power. Which is why I picked the reading today by Anton St. Martin. I love it. I have hurled myself off the shores of my own fears and limiting beliefs. Hurled myself, I love it. To venture far out into the uncharted territories of my inner truth, in search of what it means to be genuine and at peace with who I really am. I have abandoned the masquerade of living up to the expectations of others and explored the new horizons of what it means to be truly and completely me, in all my amazing imperfection and most splendid insecurity. I love the way he puts that, because, you know, that's what leads us to power rather than force. We have to strike out and seek what it means to be genuine and at peace with ourselves. We have to own that amazing imperfection and most splendid insecurity. It's who we are. If we don't own it, then it's our shadow. And it does all sorts of weird things in our lives. Whenever we find ourselves yearning to be absolutely free and absolutely comfortable in our own skin, we know that that is part of our masculine energy coming forth, because the masculine is the creative, and creativity only works when we're free and comfortable in our own skin. It won't work when we're shut down with those most splendid insecurities, if we haven't embodied them and accepted them. When we are armored over, we're missing all of that creativity too. It's a really interesting thing, though. Many of us are not comfortable in our own skin, and so we have this tendency to armor ourselves to become invulnerable. When we feel vulnerable, the seeming opposite is invulnerable. So we have to marry that with the wisdom of the feminine that says what invulnerable really does is make you unsafe. Because when you are invulnerable and armored, you can't feel the other one's heart, the person you're dealing with. You can't feel their heart, you can't feel their spirit. So you make decisions from a restricted viewpoint that can cause a lot of problems for you and for them. So wisdom says what it really means to be invulnerable, is to be willing to be completely naked, to be completely exposed, to be completely vulnerable and comfortable in who you are. That's what it really means to be protected from vulnerability. It's an interesting thing that this is really one of those paradoxical things. We have to be willing to expose ourselves, figuratively only. Figuratively expose ourselves to stand in the knowing that we are enough. To stand in the knowing that we are masculine and feminine and powerful and able to see the truth of who we are and able to come from strength and able to make discernments and hold paradox all at the same time. And we're all born with that. We're born with that ability. Gary Zukov in The Seat of the Soul has a wonderful description of what this means, I think. He says, an authentically empowered person. That's what I'm talking about. An authentically empowered person is humble. It's not false humility. It's the inclusiveness of one who responds to the beauty of each soul, of each personality and the actions of each personality. He sees the soul incarnate upon the earth. And authentically empowered people, what I call power people, are harmless because they're so able and so empowered that the idea of showing power through harming another never enters their consciousness. I love that. They do not compete for outside power. They forgive because they understand forgiveness as an energy issue, not a moral issue. What I mean by that is that forgiveness doesn't mean that you let the other person know that you've forgiven them. That's manipulation. Right. You don't let them off the hook. You take yourself off the hook. You understand that you don't have to carry the baggage of this experience around anymore. You don't have to have it stick to you. You learn from it and then you let go of it. Take the hook out of your own heart and let it go. Power people take responsibility for their own experiences rather than looking for someone out there to tell them what their experience might mean. They're clear, or they strive to be clear in their perceptions and their thinking. Now, none of us are clear in our perceptions and thinking all the time, but that's where we want to be. Clarity is the perception from wisdom. It's the perception of wisdom, the ability to see the soul in action in the physical world. A power person lives from that soul energy that we call love. Marianne Williamson reminds us that any experience we have is either an expression of love or a request for love. Because when we remember that there's only love, we can balance that paradox easily. When we understand that the fundamental energy of the universe is love, we can hold the paradox and make the distinction. Humbleness, clarity, forgiveness, and love. Those are the foundations of living an authentically empowered life. It's making that shift from experience to experiment. You know, there's like a joyful curiosity about life. From victim to creator. From having theories to living meaningfully. A lot of us have theories, but living meaningfully comes from the heart. And I think that's what we all want, isn't it? To live meaningful lives, to live as the divine beings that we are, to be the place where that divine energy shows up and lets us live fully and freely and expressively and joyfully. So today we celebrate fathers as the embodiment of the divine masculine. We celebrate all those masculine characteristics that appear as our fathers and in us, aligning them with Sophia, wisdom, so that our hearts are open and powerful. We're living from love and spiritual power. We make choices and hold paradox at the same time. We create from our power and we love, and we love, and we love some more. And that is an awful lot to celebrate, if you ask me. So join me in just allowing your awareness to fall deeply into your own inner space. That place where the masculine and the feminine come together. That spark of divine life that resides within each one of us. Because truly that divine life is the only life there is. There's only one. There's only one life, only one mind, only one source of power. We call it God, and it goes by 10,000 names, all of which describe some little tiny attribute of this infinite power that we can't really talk about. We can only feel our way around. Any words diminish it. Any words try to encapsulate something that is infinite. And it has spread itself and its life and its power and its love through all creation. And it shows up conscious of itself in you and in me. We are able to know that we know, and we are able to know that there is something greater than the physical, greater even than the mental. It is the thing that answers that call of our hearts, our deepest selves, for life, for freedom, for joy, for love, and says, you are the place that all of those things show up. You are where I come into form, my beautiful child. That is the truth about each one of us, male or female, that we are all the image and likeness of pure spirit. And as I know this is the truth about each one of us, I know that we celebrate the power and the decisiveness and the creativity of the masculine. And we marry it to Sophia, the wisdom of the fertile feminine. And when we do that, we live from power, without force, but from power. The very power that we are, the very power that beats our hearts and breathes our breath. And knowing this is the truth about us, I give thanks. I give thanks that we get to come together and acknowledge and celebrate this truth. I give thanks for each person who is here, each beloved being, each manifestation of God that is present today, that is present anywhere, all around the earth, that we can look at and see soul force in operation. And from this place of deep gratitude, I release these words, knowing that the universe always says yes, always. So I just say thank you, I let it be, and we say together, and so it is.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of love surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of love surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen.
Amen. We now have an opportunity to contribute in support of the work of this community, but more than that, we have an opportunity to just take a breath and experience gratitude for all that we have in our lives, all that we are able to experience in our lives, all that life brings to us, and all that we have, and all that we are, and all that we give from. Gratitude is that attitude that makes welcome even more good stuff in our lives. When we have an attitude of gratitude, we say yes to life every single day. If you're not able to give today, or you give by automatic withdrawal or some other way, as the basket passes you, just bless it. Just bless it and the abundance of this community as it goes by. That attitude allows our life as a community to simply expand into the greatness that we are. And let's acknowledge together and affirm together. Gratefully I give with an attitude of gratitude.
Gratefully I give with an attitude of gratitude.
I know that as I give, so do I receive.
I know that as I give, so do I receive.
And so it is.
And so it is.
of the few guys I know who can segue from Eric Satie to Neil Young so smoothly. You're fabulous. Thank you, Dan.
Well, and it's such a pleasure to play at a center where you can do that.
Yeah,
where
it
fits
is.
in.
Yep. I love it. I love it. Kids? No kids. Oh, go get the kids, Mark. Thanks. Clara, will you come on up here, please? I want to introduce you people to someone that you may not know. This is Clara Jackson. She's our operations director. She's fabulous. She's so great to work with. And I love to have her here full time. It's just wonderful. So she is a really terrific woman, and I hope you will stop by and get to know her soon. Do you have anything you want to say?
It's fantastic to be here. Working with this lady is awesome. Following in the heels of Becky is pretty incredible. She's a fantastic lady and has really brought this place to a place where I can use my talents here to help further what we're doing here. So very happy to be here.
So glad to have
We
you.
love her. She wanted you to be able to put a face with the name. She's fabulous. Oh, come on in and tell us what you did, guys.
2, 3, 4.
How you doing?
You are beautiful, courageous, and wise beyond your ages. This I know for you, as I know myself. You are splendid, you're unique. Bring him up, Keith. With the whole world at your feet. We saw him want to dance. This I know for you, as I know myself. You are brother to the flowers and sister to the trees. This I know for you, as I know myself. And all I've lived within you, you are one with God is true. This I know for you, as I know myself. This I know for you, as I know myself. This I know for you, as I know myself.
Do a little 60-second patience little meditation where we count to 60 slowly. These three ladies were perfectly still for that period of time. It's the first time ever that everybody was
Lots of still feminine energy back there today. Thanks, kids, for being here. We love you. A couple of things I want to tell you about. First of all, we have created a new newsletter. This is our special Pride edition we took down to the Pride Day Festival. But we are creating it every 2 months. It'll be circulated here, but it will also be circulated in the greater community. It's a way to let people know who we are and a little bit more about ourselves. And there are beautiful places in here where you can let people know what you do. We have here Maggie Pierce, licensed esthetician, health and skincare coach. We have Clara Jackson, Journeys Coaching, Institute of Holistic Leadership, and several articles about Sunday's Cool Kids, and the Holistic Health Corner, and all kinds of things. So if you would like this community, there are lots of people in this community who don't know what you do. People are always asking me, do you know and some I do and some I don't. So this is your vehicle for some inexpensive advertising here in this community, but we're also going to circulate them to libraries, health food stores, restaurants, places like that, so that the rest of the world will pick this up and find out more about you and about us. So if you would like to talk more about it, you can talk with Chris Ellis, who's right there. Or you can talk with Clara. They both have all the inside information on this. And if you would like to celebrate or submit an article or a poem or whatever, you can submit it to the office, and we will take it into consideration for our first issue is going to be July and August. Then we'll have September and October, and then November and December. And so check it out. There's some more copies over on that table near where Laurel is sitting. Speaking of that table, all of the things to bid on your Cooking with God events are there. There's a catalog of events, and there's bid sheets for each event. So take a look and see what entices you. These are events that involve fun and food with your community members. And so if you take a look and you find something you want to bid on, write your name down and your bid amount. Please don't go lower than the suggested opening bid. And if you want to go higher, you're welcome to. I agree. It's time to get out of here. At any rate, the whole idea is there's a maximum number of guests, and the high bidders win. It's that simple. The bidders pay their bid to the center, so the center is supported by this event. But more importantly, those high bidders get to go have a blast with somebody at their home or wherever they choose to do it, with fun and food involved. And so check out the bids, make your bids, and then check back often. Make sure you don't get outbid. If you do, just bid higher. And next Sunday is our church picnic in the backyard. Bring something to share. We'll provide the grill items. And our welcome team at our welcome center is now officially on duty. If you are new or have questions, you can go over and see the welcome team member who will be there after service. And there's a lot of information on this side about what do we think about a certain topic and general information. That's where our newsletter will be for you to pick up later on, etc. This is a wonderful, wonderful addition to our Sunday services, because we just want to make sure everyone gets their questions answered and knows where the youth church is, for example, and the lending library and the bookstore. So please visit with them. And mark your calendars right now for the weekend of November 7th through 9th. I'm so excited about this, I can hardly stand it. I'm going to do a retreat at Grailville, which is about 30 miles down the road in Loveland, Ohio. The reason I chose it is because they have a magnificent labyrinth. The retreat is called The Path of Wisdom, a retreat for mystics, and we're all mystics, so it's going to be really, really good. It's 2 nights, 4 meals, and 2 days of retreat for $135, which is a good deal. But there's only room for 20 people. There's only 20 beds, so register quick. There's a sign-up sheet back there, and it's got some more information on it. You can call me to talk more about it if you want. Foundations class with Becky facilitating begins June 23rd, and there's a sign-up sheet on the bulletin board as well. And finally, think I announced everything I needed to. Nobody's standing up waving their arms, so this is good. If you would like prayer support after the service for anything at all, see one of the beautiful women in the teal or white shawls, and Becky's not wearing hers today, but she's one as well. They're all professional prayer practitioners, and they offer to you the gift of prayer in what we call a 1-minute miracle here after service, so take advantage of that. So let's stand and do our closing affirmation and our closing song, which is Holy Ground. Please repeat after me. There is a song of the universe and I sing it.
There is a song of the universe and I sing it.
There is a hymn of praise and I praise it.
There is a hymn of praise and I praise it.
There is a life of joy and I live it.
There is a life of joy and I live it.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Have a fabulous weekend, everybody.